Hello. I think we're live. Are you good on your
Ah,
Are you good on your end?
I am. I always am like dancing during the intro.
Yeah, me too. I'm happy that no one hears that though, because I absolutely cannot dance. I'm the worst dancer on the planet.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Um, Let me get settled here. I'm gonna pull up the live chat here in just a second, guys. I've got to get myself situated and on the right. There we go. Okay, so Katie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am just great. Um,
Good.
I'm still reeling from the argument that I had last night with Jimmy about air fryers, but I think I'm okay. Do you have an opinion on air fryers? I feel like this is a big thing now.
What's an air fryer?
Okay, good. Um, it's apparently it's God's gift to people who don't want to deep fat fry things, and it works just like a deep fat fryer does. But you just sort of like lightly coat food items on there, and then you put it in this convection oven thing that uses air and heat, and it fries them up nice and crispy. I thought it was a scam, but turns out it works. I just hate the name. Hate the name. It's very weird.
Does it taste good?
I have no idea.
It
Um,
sounds like a lot of work.
yeah, when you could just dunk it in the, I'm from the South.
Yeah.
We just throw everything. We there is literally, and a lot of people probably aren't going to understand this. And to be honest, I didn't understand it when I first saw it either. It was one of those things where it's just like, no, that's not. Oh, that is real.
Yeah.
Here at the fair, there is deep fried butter.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
That is not a joke. That is not me being making a joke. That is not me, sort of trying to be a smartass. Google it.
They
We
deep fry in Minnesota, they deep fry Snickers bars.
Yes, and you know what?
Um,
I can I can get behind that. What I want them to do is take, and this is my dream, okay, guys. So if somebody makes this happen, I will just be ecstatic. But you know how you have that marshmallow fluff stuff?
yes.
Okay, so you take marshmallow fluff and you mix a little bit of rum in it and some
Yeah.
cinnamon, and you put it in the refrigerator and let that sort of like set up. And then you take
Uh-huh.
cinnamon toast crunch and you crush it and you smash it into this marshmallow fluff mixture. And then if you were to deep fat fry that, that'd be the shit.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I had my cinnamon toast crunch this morning. It's like crack. I am so addicted to it.
Yeah.
And I was at Target yesterday and I was getting a couple groceries, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw in the freezer case cinnamon toast crunch like balls of like ice cream.
Shut up. Don't even do that.
Yes.
I will not be able to concentrate for the remainder of. Don't even do that. Is that for real?
I'm not. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I was like blown over the moon when they came out with those breakfast bars. They have like those breakfast bars of the different types of cereal. Like they got Cocoa Puffs, I think, and Fruit Loops, but it's got like
Yeah.
this like cream. Oh, those were so good. But people constantly, and like I love it. I love that people do this. I think it's wonderful and amazing. But at the same time, it's kind of torture because none of these people that send me this stuff are in North Carolina, and they're going to all of these cool restaurants and all of these like festivals or whatever, and they're eating all of this cinnamon toast crunch stuff. Like there was some kind of like ice cream cookie thing that somebody sent me. Somebody was
Yeah.
out at a bar one night and they had cinnamon toast crunch shots, and I love seeing that. But it's also like torture because all of you people literally live on the other side of the country. So
It's kind of amazing because it's like, is it trending right now to be into cinnamon toast crunch?
probably not anymore.
I don't know. I see it on menus too, and I'm like, what's with the cinnamon toast crunch right now? Like,
It
I just really love it.
it may have
I
been up.
have,
It may have been up until a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just an inside joke. You'll get it later.
Oh, okay.
You'll get it later.
Okay.
All right, so what are we talking about tonight?
I guess we're talking about some chick named
Oh yeah,
Michelle Carter.
this pisses me off, and I'm glad that we've got the news stories first because those always take the edge off. But this story that we're going to talk about tonight just really pisses me off. Let me get to the news.
Yeah, I found her mugshot and I was like, ew, what was with her hair?
She bless her. I don't
You
know
know what my favorite comment is lately on my channel?
what.
Because my channel has been like growing a lot because I've been covering
I see that.
some my because I'm really obsessed with like reality TV and I love to talk snarky about it. And people love to call me judgmental and I'm like, you're literally calling me judgmental for calling people that are like trashy out. Okay.
Well, the internet is full of lovely people. I'll put it this way.
I know, and I'm like, dude,
Lovely
like
people.
the people I'm snarking on are like they're like doing really bad things. It's not like I'm snarking on them for fun. It's like, come
Well,
on.
to that point, just real quick, I don't know if do you know who Patty Mayo is? Not from Doug the cartoon, but the bounty
No.
hunter. So he's a guy on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a guy
Yes.
on YouTube. He's got a huge channel, but he started out as a lot of people don't know this. He actually started out as a prank video YouTuber. He would do like taxi
Okay.
cab pranks, but then he started doing these bounty hunter videos, and everybody thought they were real. Like everybody thought like he was really a bounty hunter. These were really things happening. What happened? I think the story is, from what I remember, he wound up moving to Nebraska, I think, and on his show on YouTube said that he was running for the sheriff of the county. Well, the county he was in had to put out a statement that said this is a fictional YouTube world that this young man has created. He is not really running for the sheriff of whatever county in. But the guy had like millions of subscribers, and people would point this out on their YouTube videos, being like, why would you do this? Why would you pretend like you're something? And literally, all of his fans would go and just descend on the people that were just pointing out what the news was pointing out. Like they were saying, "Hey, this guy's a fake." Yes, he is a fake. The sheriff of the actual county said he's not running. I'm the actual sheriff, and his fans are like, "Nuh-uh, man. Patty Mayo, he's real. You can't tell me nothing. Get the fuck out of here." Okay.
People are saying my volume is really loud compared to yours.
Okay. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay. I'm gonna turn you down just a little bit, and people can let me know if that makes it any better. Say something now.
Hello.
Okay. They can let us know.
Hopefully.
And I'll pull up the chat here in just a second on my end. I've just got so many windows open right now.
They said it's not better yet.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep going down then.
That's weird.
Okay. So in this first story, a Spanish River High principal refuses to call the Holocaust a fact. Yeah. A mother pushed for a year to address what she described as a school leader's failure to separate truth from myth. This is a very, just really tragic story.
Yeah, a mother pushed for.
Let's see. She wanted to make sure that when she wrote to the principal, her child's school was making the Holocaust education a priority. The response that she received 5 days later was anything but routine. Now, this is in a reply from the principal of the school, and he said that lessons are not forced upon individuals, as we all have the same rights, but not all the same beliefs. Okay. Now, before we don't even need to go any further in the article to point out that this guy should definitely never be a principal, should never be in charge of teaching students, should never have anything to do with putting out any sort of an educational foundation. Katie, can you tell me when he says that people are not forced to these lessons are not forced on people because people believe different or people have the same rights but not the same beliefs? What's wrong with that statement?
Beliefs and facts aren't the same thing,
Yes.
and the Holocaust is a fact.
Yes. Yes. And the fact that he is a principal just frightens me. This is how the flat Earth stuff sort of propagates and all that. There are differences between like religious beliefs, and no, you can't force those on people. So why we have the society set up the way that we do. But when you
Wait, hold on.
Sure.
But my volume is still super loud.
Let me ask my chat. You sound leveled off to me, and all of your levels on my end come back. There, I have a gauge right in front of me that shows like if you spike louder than the baseline, and
Yeah.
you're right in range with me. So
Would I want to change my levels maybe down here?
do you have a volume control on your mic?
Yeah.
You can try that. I mean, I can keep turning you down.
Hold on.
I'm just saying that, like, on
Is
my
that-
end, I'm not seeing any sort of like weird issues.
Do I sound better now, guys?
Better one, better two. All right, I've got my chat pulled up.
Better
too.
one?
How do they sound to you guys, or how do we sound to you guys? Now that I've got this chat up, let's see if we can't get this settled.
La 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 la. Am I super loud? They keep saying I keep having to change. You're way louder than he is. He sounds really quiet.
My volume needs to go up. Can you hear me? Is this better? Any better?
You sound louder. Well, I can't control if I have an echo.
You're good, Katie. I'm gonna level you out on this end.
Okay.
It might be.
They said you need to be louder, Kyle.
Okay. Let me just make sure. Let me make sure, guys, that it's not picking up the mic from the camera. Is this what you're hearing right here? Let's just do a test real quick.
I can hear that.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wonder if my mic is on. If my camera.
I'm pulling you down, and I'm gonna put mine up, and then that should fix that. Let me see. Give me 1 second, guys. We'll get this fixed real quick. You know what really sucks too?
What?
So I have a wireless mouse, right? And the battery's dying on it right now.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's like the mouse is like slowly creeping its way to where I need it to go. It's so annoying. Okay. Oh,
I know.
okay. I see why. My gain was down. Okay. Let's see if that fixes things for everybody.
You sound better now.
Okay. Yeah, that was a I'd reset that. All right. Are we good, gang?
I think so.
Everybody happy on the chat's end? Let's make sure. Everybody happy?
I think they are. They said that it's better. They said they can hear you better now. Oh yeah, I got a thumbs up.
Good.
Oh, yep. And Dreadlock says much better, and Sassy says absolutely.
Good.
Can I just say I am so excited that my channel has been growing, and I want to say hi to all of my new subscribers that are watching. This is probably the first time they have met you, Kyle, so...
Hi, new subscribers. It's always good that at least one of us can say that.
I know. Oh, well, you will get back there.
Look, what does England say? Keep calm and have a stiff upper lip. We'll be
Yeah, you'll
we'll be all
get
right.
there.
We'll be all right. Okay.
We've weathered most of the storms, so we're good.
Um, Animal rights group PETA asks Idaho City to rename Chicken Dinner Road.
I want to live on that street.
I know, right? I mean, like, I put this in here just because it's like it's so ridiculous. Like, PETA should focus on like actual saving animals. Having a road named
Yeah.
something does nothing to you know what I mean. Like, there is no one
Right.
that okay. Let me stop right there. It could be that someone somewhere is driving down the road and is gonna eat a salad and sees Chicken Dinner Road
Yeah.
and opts for chicken dinner. Okay, well, carry on, PETA. I see what you're doing here. I see what you're.
Okay, can I tell you a super random note that I learned today?
Uh-huh.
So, a farmer in Australia was doing some research on whether or not you can actually be cruelty free as a vegan. And he learned that with agricultural production, in order to ensure like enough plants are grown, farmers have to kill a lot of animals.
Yeah.
They have to kill ducks, and then field mice and bunnies.
See, like, this is why I stay, and I don't know why next week we're gonna do a vegan debate next week. I don't know why, because like, it literally stresses me out thinking about it, just because, like, I hate anything to do with any sort of like cruelty to animals. It's the one thing that is just I can't stand it. People on Facebook that post these videos of like abused animals, stuff like that. Like, I literally busted the screen on my phone last year because I was scrolling through and somebody posted a picture of a dog that had been abused, and I just dropped my phone. Like, I cannot do that. It gives me anxiety. And
Yeah.
I don't like getting in the middle of this debate because the vegan position is the right position in my opinion. In my opinion. Then this is just my opinion. I'm only speaking from the way that I see things. And I admire them for having the ability and the self-control and all that to get through that. I don't like the practices that are instituted towards the animals. Like, yes, it's a cow, it's a pig, it's a chicken, but it's a living thing that is put here and is just trying to survive like all of us. And so I am a complete hypocrite in this sense. I am a complete hypocrite. I don't fault either side because I'm on one side and I wish I could be on the other side, but I don't have that that in me. So I hate this topic. I hate this topic more than anything.
Really? I have zero problem. I love to talk about veganism because it's really not practical, and there's really this like misnomer that you can actually live in a world that's cruelty free. And then there's this whole issue about the diet is not actually sustainable and has lots of issues with nutrient deficiencies. And I say this caveat of a mother who has a child that's essentially a vegan, not by choice, but because of his medical issues.
Yeah.
Done correctly, it can be done right, but there's this very haughty and I'm better than you, I'm a more empathetic person than you, because in reality, the truth is they've done studies now that show billions of animals die in the production of the plants that the vegans are eating. And like, cruelty free in terms of like cosmetics and all that kind of stuff, they don't really even test on animals anymore. They just don't, because the same ingredients have been used over and over and over again. So nobody's testing on animals to begin with.
Well, like, I don't think, to your point, I don't think that it's realistic for anyone to say, like a vegan, to say that they're living cruelty free. Like, life is cruel. Every
Right.
aspect of life is cruel. You know, having to listen to Nickelback, that is cruel. Like, that inflicts
Oh my
cruelty.
God.
But the question is, can we create a less cruel world? And that to me is the like it doesn't have to be one or the other. Can we make steps to ensure that we are not causing the unnecessary suffering of
I think the cruelty is relative, and I think that's the big difference, is that if you were to talk to a farmer versus like what a vegan would assume to be cruel, it's very different. And that's my problem, is that I've talked to people that are working in the agricultural sector to understand like the animals and the common like standards for, you know, beef, hog, all that kind of good stuff.
what are your
So
what's your opinion on the in New Jersey with the gestation cages for the pigs, where they it's the pigs can literally be kept for life in one position where they can't turn around? That's horrible. That's horrible. In New
I
Jersey.
don't see that. Well, I don't see that here. I mean, we have pig farms all over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
like,
not.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't. Here's the, like, I'm in the middle of the road with you. I think I don't think it's as
Yeah.
bad as one side puts it out, and I don't think it's as bad as the other side points out. Usually,
Right.
in anything, the truth is sort of blended in the middle between the two sides.
Yep.
I just like, it is a fact that there are farms and mass factories out there that are doing absolute wrong when it comes to
Sure.
when it comes to
Yes.
this.
Of
And I think
course.
that's where our focus needs to be. It's just
Yeah,
like
there's
puppy mills
bad
and that sort of
actors.
thing.
Yeah, there's
All that needs to
bad
be.
actors. There are bad actors in absolutely every industry. And I am the proud mommy of 2 fur babies that came from puppy mills. So, like, I have the biggest heart. I mean, I have 2 cats and 3 dogs. Like, my house is a zoo. My son would like to get a snake and a guinea pig, which is never going to happen. But like, those are the things that he wants. And I'm like, dude, we already have 2 cats or 3 cats and 2 dogs. And our dogs are literally from puppy mills.
I always walk away from this talk too, craving bacon. Like that's the harsh thing about this. Like I defend these, I defend the vegan position because I know, like, or at least I feel it's correct. But I'm always like, oh no, now I'm fucking thinking about bacon. Why? It's such a let's get off of let's get off of the vegan thing. It stresses
Okay,
me
we're
out.
off
Though.
the weekend.
It really stresses me out. But I'll tell you what. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. Potatoes cannot escape as we kill them before eating them. This I agree, and that's why like I am going to be talking about next week potato rights as well, because they're just chilling in the ground. Like we have no, and you know what? The fact that they have all of those eyes means that they see infinitely more times the horror and cruelty.
You are so ridiculous.
You're talking about swine breeding cages, and they aren't
No,
kept in there.
hold
They're,
up, hold up. You're the uncle that has the really dumb jokes. And you
Yeah.
have like the little, like, you're the guy that's like, come on, butt up bump. Right?
yeah, I'm the guy that makes you
Yeah.
acknowledge that I told a joke. That is totally me.
Yeah, that is so you. Can I get
Um,
can I get an amen?
Amen. Let me speak to this. Where'd you go? You're talking about swine breeding cages, and they aren't kept in there their whole lives. They're kept in there through the gestation and weaning. Still not good, but not their whole lives.
Yeah,
That-
I've
that could
heard
be.
that-
I know that it went to. I'm gonna find out. Okay, here's what this article says. After decades of promises, has the food industry made progress on gestation crates? In early 2018, Smithfield, the world's largest pork producer, announced that it had achieved its animal care goal to provide housing for pregnant sows on all of its U.S.-based farms over the course of 10 years. And with a $360 million investment, the company claims to transitioned its operations away from individual stalls known as gestation crates since the 1970s. These crates have been standard housing in most hog breeding facilities nationwide for the nearly 4-month duration of a pregnancy. Oh, well, 4 months. I mean, that's still like, the thing about this is pigs are smarter, or more. Their brains are more like humans than dogs are. Like they're eerily similar in the way their emotions and that stuff is played out in their brains. Like, can you imagine being stuck in a cage and not being able to turn around for 4 months? I can't. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no.
Is that Frida?
Sorry. No, that's Sweetie. Frida's sitting outside the door. But
I'll read one more comment here. Shut the fuck up with your stupid jokes, Kyle. All right. Cool.
Wow.
No, I don't know if he's being. He may be just being funny. Let's not funny.
On my channel, just so you know, we have a running joke. Is the dog alive? Because Sweetie and Frida both passed out like right on the floor and they look like they're dead. And so usually when I'm streaming, like
That's an awful game.
of them. I know. So during the stream, they're usually like, is the dog alive? And then all of a sudden you'll see like, oh, I saw a movement. Oh, the dog is panting. Oh, the dog is doing this.
That's not a fun game. I don't want to play that game. We need to play that with, I wonder if Sugar's still alive. You remember Sugar? Wasn't that her name? Oh, wait. I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that person. Never mind. I forgot about somebody that you and I know that likes cabbage, that had their dog on.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that dog is still alive. Yeah.
I forgot that we can't. Let me just move on here. I'm getting into to Jilly and veganism. We need to close out. This is already eject. All right. So I talk a lot about these stupid games that are going viral with these challenges, but now it's just getting gross and stupid. Like, this pisses me off. This irritates me to no end. Like, if you've ever, and I'm guilty of this, I am so guilty of being someone that when you get a bottle of something, like a drink, or even I opened up a thing of honey mustard earlier, and it's got that seal thing on it that's so annoying to have to pop off every time, and I cuss at it every time.
Yes.
I saw this story.
It says peel. It says peel, and it's supposed to pop up, and it never does.
Right. And you know what? I saw this story, and I was like, I will never cuss at those things again. So this is apparently the latest stupid craze that people are going around. But this woman is facing up to 20 years in prison for tampering with a consumer product after video of her opening a gallon of ice cream, licking it, and then putting it back into the grocery store freezer went viral on social media. According to Bluebell, this was a malicious act of food tampering. Bluebell said they removed all the tin roof gallons of ice cream from the freezer. And then they went on to make a statement about food tampering. Police are confident that they have identified the woman. She faces a second-degree felony charge for tampering with a consumer product. The charge comes with a 2 to 20-year prison term and $10,000 fine. And then it shows pictures of the woman licking the ice cream, posting it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And there is a long list in this article of people that have followed doing this challenge. So
that's a biohazard.
The thing is, like, there's just like, what the fuck did we do to society? Like, what the hell did we do? Where, like, okay, it's one thing if you lick the ice cream and put it back in because you're trying to be funny or you're trying to be a dick. I mean, that just shows you that you're stupid right offhand. But to go a step further, and then post it on everyone, look how I lick this ice cream, and I slide it back into because society loves that. Society loves it when you lick their food and then put
We
it back
are
so that we have to guess.
We are addicted to that dopamine rush we get when we get the likes, the comments.
Do heroin.
subscribers.
Do heroin. Whatever keeps you from licking ice cream. Like, if you need a switch of dopamine, you know.
I don't like any of these challenges. I think they're really gross. And I don't know if you've noticed, but like, and I've talked about this on my channel, but there is this obscene thing where people like on YouTube do mukbangs and they eat like an obscene amount of food and they just like gorge on food and it's so disgusting. They like eat so much.
Since I have been doing since I have been doing non sequitur, please allow me to go through just what I remember of the challenges that I have talked about on this show. There was the hot water challenge, where people would boil hot water and pour it over top of their heads to see how long they could stand up straight. There was there was the vacuum challenge, where people would get in a garbage bag, seal it off,
Yep.
and suck
Remember that one?
the garbage bag. There was the
Bird box challenge.
the what? Yeah, the bird box challenge, where you
Bird
get
box
blind
challenge
and
where
you drive.
Yeah.
There was the honey and bear selfie, where you put honey on your hand and try to either like tap a bear or take a selfie with it. There was one other one too. By the way, that last one was just a joke, but you didn't know that because all of this shit is so crazy. I just slid it in there.
Remember a couple of years ago, they were eating like spoonfuls of cinnamon, and then like someone actually got super sick from it.
Yeah.
And then there was another where they were drinking like a gallon of water, and people, like one person actually died from like water toxicity.
That happens.
Then there was
Go ahead.
the Tide Pod challenge.
Yep.
Like people were calling poison control. Like, oh, last summer it was the Nerf gun challenge where they were like shooting Nerf gun, like doing like Nerf gun wars by driving.
That I'm okay with. That doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? And you know what? Oddly enough, I'm okay with the harmful ones. Like, I'm okay with people dousing themselves in hot water, jumping off of buildings, doing the concrete, cannonball challenge, or suffocating themselves in a trash bag. To me, that weeds out the stupid people. I'm not okay with you licking ice cream and sticking it back into the freezer, though, for somebody that's not expecting it. Like, that to me, or the bird box challenge, which endangers anything that endangers other people. I hate it. But you know what? If you want to, if you want to see how far you can drive a nail up your nose, doing the nail your nose challenge.
But the problem is that some of these challenges are being done by kids that don't know any better, and so that's not okay either. And you're going to be the crazy uncle that's being like, well, parents can't control what their kids are doing.
Yes, I am.
No.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Hold on. Let me defend myself, though. Number one, parents should watch their kids. Parents should know what their kids are doing, and if they have to be somewhere, they should know that they are leaving their kids with someone that can watch them and make sure they're not doing this. Number two, I don't think that if you're of the age where you can be away from your parents for an extended period of time to do any of this shit, then you are smart enough to know not to put on a blindfold and fucking drive. And if you're not, good riddance. That's the way I feel. Kids, adults, doesn't matter. Adios.
You are such a brat sometimes. I don't even know why I'm friends with you.
I'm just saying, like, that's the threshold. Like, either your parents are watching you, or you're old enough to be in a location like school or hanging out with your friends where you should have the common sense to know that if I dump boiling water on my head, it's gonna hurt. And if you continue to dump the water on your head, then fuck you. You get what you're asking for. Sorry.
See, I just think of this differently because I have worked with teenagers and I know their brains are like this little frontal lobe is not developed at the same level that yours and mine is. And I know peer pressure is real. And I know it sounds crazy, but come on, like, I lived through the days when, we pierced our tongues and pierced weird parts of our body and nobody told us the wiser. So I feel like these challenges are just sort of this amplified, like everything's getting like ramped
No,
up.
no, you cannot, no, Katie, no, I will not let you compare getting your tongue pierced or your belly button pierced to fucking dumping boiling water over your head or putting a blindfold
Come
on and
on,
driving.
jackass. Okay, jackass. Come on.
They're jackasses. And what happens to them?
Yeah.
What happened to them? Half of them are dead, and the rest of them are in some rehab somewhere.
Pretty much.
This is the future. That's what happens.
I
Like,
know.
now, don't get me wrong. It's hilarious to watch. I mean, people love a train wreck. People like Jackass. Jackass was great to watch. It was hilarious. But how many times did you go, this is so unbelievably stupid. Who would do
I
this?
never, to be honest, I never watched Jackass because like Johnny Knox and Steve-O or whatever, they annoyed the crap out of me. Like they were the kind of guys in college I would have like avoided with like a 30-foot pole because they were so obnoxious.
Steve-O, surprisingly, is the craziest of all of them, and he's
Oh my God,
He's still with us.
Nuts.
yeah. He's still with us.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
And and Bam. Bam is like a hot mess now. He's like freaking like all sauced out. Like he's had so many issues with alcohol. He's gone through so much. Like he's unrecognizable because his alcoholism is so bad, which makes me actually feel really bad for him because like
Yeah.
when you get to that level of addiction, it's very deadly. But yeah, it's yeah.
But I mean, what does that say about us as society that we championed him on, and he was in the spotlight while he was literally nearly killing himself every night, and when he stopped, no one gave a shit about him anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now
Yep.
he just withers away with the alcohol. I mean, I think that's an indictment on maybe we need to be better at.
Well, yeah, and Steve-O too. I think he's like been all into all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I mean they all are, but because they're not nobody gives a shit if they're not out there busting themselves through through cannons or and shit like that.
I wonder how many concussions they got and how many of them have like permanent brain damage from it.
I'm sure a lot. I mean, you look at an NFL player. I mean, they since that thing came out with the concussions. How many?
DTE.
Hmm.
It's called DTE.
TTE. Yeah.
It's like what happens with like concussion syndrome or whatever. And Aaron Hernandez had a very severe case of it.
That was a sad movie with Will Smith too. That I think it was called Concussion, right?
Oh, about Muhammad Ali?
No, it was an NFL. It was about the NFL. It was about the doctor that discovered this that sort of blew the whistle on the phenomenon. So we'll wrap up tonight's pre-stories with everyone's favorite Flat
Totally
Earthers.
we're totally on a rant.
Flat Earthers will cruise to Antarctica's ice wall at the planet's edge. Organizers of an annual conference that brings together people who believe that the Earth is flat are planning a cruise. Let me get this up here. Are planning a cruise to the edge of the planet. They're looking for the ice wall that holds back the oceans. The journey will take place in 2020. The Flat Earth International Conference announced on its website that the goal is to test so-called flat earthers' assertions that the Earth is a flattened disk surrounded at its edge by a towering wall of ice. Details about the events, including the dates, are forthcoming. They say it's the biggest and the boldest adventure yet. However, it's worth noting that nautical maps and navigation technologies, such as GPS, work as they do because the Earth is a fucking globe.
Right.
Believers in a flat Earth are... I mean, they just go to talk about like the different demonstrations. But they're going... Number one, they're going on a cruise, which is going to use nautical maps that are designed based on the oceans being a globe. And
I know.
this to me is shocking, and I mark my words, I guarantee you this. This is a media hype. This is a way to sort of gain traction again in the flat Earth community to spark some new interest. This will never happen though.
Yeah.
They will never
No.
sail out to the so-called ice wall, because when they hit Antarctica, and it is not an ice wall that spans the entire lip of the Earth, they will have nothing to come back on after that.
I know.
Nothing. This is a media stunt.
Well, then they'll just change it. See, what they'll do is they'll just say that their information was inaccurate, and then they'll have to change it to a different thing. It's like the end. It's like the end of the world. You know, those end of the world people that like they're always going to predict the end of the world, and then they're like, "Oh, I got the date wrong. It's actually next year on May 3rd."
You're exactly right. I told Mad Mike. Mad Mike Hughes has been on the show twice. He's the guy that built his own rocket and shot himself up into the sky for flat Earth to sort of, he went like, I can't remember how high he went, but I think it was, I'm not even going to guess because people in the chat, can you look up and tell me how high Mad Mike Hughes went? But he was up there, like way up there. And I told him that if he wants to go up in a hot air balloon and see that the Earth is a disc, and then he wants to come down and tell everyone that the Earth is flat. And I told him, I said, when you go up there and you see that the Earth is round, this is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to come down, you're going to go to a microphone, and you're going to say, the Earth is round. And then every flat earther is going to look at you and say, oh, they paid him off. Shill, they got to him. He's like, you would literally have to take every flat earther up into the sky, and even then they would probably say that NASA has put some holographic, I'm not even going to say that because that'll give them an idea.
Because they can't let go of their belief system. They just can't.
This will never happen. This is a media stunt. Now, very well played media stunt. Don't get me wrong, but media stunt nonetheless. Okay, so
I still like the donut theory that we talked about. Like, I don't even remember.
Krispy Kreme.
Or a couple months ago.
I could go for a donut theory right now. Krispy Kreme sounds amazing right now. I'm all about that.
You're always hungry when we're streaming. Always.
I'm just always hungry. I'm always hungry.
You guys, fun fact, Kyle doesn't eat before he goes live because it makes him feel puffy.
It does. Wow. Wow. I totally just got called out by my co-host here.
I didn't know it was a secret.
No, they know. That's where the Cinnamon Toast Crunch thing came in, because I'm so excited about getting, like when it's over, getting to the bowl.
I had a humongous bowl today, and then I had more.
It's addicting. Okay, so now it's time for me to get angry, and I'm interested in hearing what you guys think in the chat. I want you to hit. Well, can't really do that now, because many of you may not know the story. We'll do that after. I was gonna get a poll, but let me position these texts real quick so that we can follow these along and make sure that we're on the same page here. Oh, that's way too big. Okay, that looks good. All right. So I've pulled the text message. Basically, I'll give you a little history, and then I'm gonna let Katie. Katie, are you familiar with the story that well, like to where you can go into, or do you want me to do it?
I know a little bit, but I haven't read it in a while.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I know she's encouraging him to do it.
I know all of I was obsessed with this story. Like this story.
And then he got out of the car, and then she told him to go back in the car.
Right. And this story to me is it's not only that it's frightening, but it just shows such a callous disregard that people can have, and for no reason. I think this girl is just pure evil. No one will ever be able to convince me otherwise. I've gotten into a couple of online things on Twitter with people who try to defend her actions. But I think she's heinous. I think she's one of the most.
I think she's sadistic.
She's evil. And so here's what happened. In 2011, 17-year-old Michelle Carter met 18-year-old Conrad, and both of them came into this relationship with issues. Michelle had a long history of depression. She had an eating disorder. She went back and forth between bulimia and anorexia. Conrad is there are videos that you can find where he would post on social media his thoughts and how he was feeling. And Conrad's a very sad like case. Like I watched the videos that he posted, and they were heartbreaking. Like he's literally saying on stream that he's got voices in his head telling him to kill himself. But like it's not somebody that you would expect to be in this situation. Like he's, other than his streams, he seems like he's very happy. They get in a relationship together. It's mainly over text. It's mainly an online relationship. They met in person actually 2 or 3 times. That's the max that they ever met in actual person. The rest of the time, it was just communications through electronic means. So Conrad told Michelle at some point that he had attempted suicide before. He was unsuccessful. And she started asking him why. And he explained that he is severely depressed. He's going to do it again. He just doesn't know when. But it's not something that he's going to sort of shake loose of. He's gonna do this. Now, at the beginning of the relationship, for the first half, Michelle was very against this. Michelle was very trying to tell him not to. He's got too much to live for, that sort of thing. She was not encouraging this
at all.
That where am I? There we go. So that's an important thing that comes back later on in the in the case. So on these text messages, let me pull this up here.
And they discuss him doing this multiple times, and he backs out and stuff. Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna sort of go through right now with these text messages that you're gonna see on your screen. It jumps their story. I'm jumping it very quickly because I don't want to get into the dynamics of the relationship or whatever. I mainly want to focus on what she did or did not do, the trial, what happened at the trial, and then what happened today, because there was actually an event that happened today that is involving this case, and so that's.
Right.
We're going to get to that too.
All over the news right now.
Yeah. So Conrad rigs up a pump and puts it in the back of his truck. A system where there's a tube that runs into his truck. He's going to do it with CO2 from the vehicle. And he has decided that he's going to go to a Kmart parking lot at night. Do it there, and then whoever finds him, and then they can notify the parents or whatever. So these are the text messages leading up to the event that ultimately took Conrad's life and him being discovered in that parking lot. How was your day? The blue is Conrad, by the way. So she asks, when are you doing it? He says, ended up just going to work for a bit, then looked stuff up, and they're talking about the different ways that you can kill yourself there. She then says, when are you going to do it? Stop ignoring the question. You can't think about it. You just have to do it. You said you were going to do it. I don't get why you aren't. Now, honestly, to be frank, I literally teared up the first time a year ago when I heard this case and was reading these, because these were being sent to someone who was at the, like, I mean, he was actually doing this, and he's on top of that. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And he says,
yeah.
I don't get it either. I don't know. To which she says, so I guess you aren't going to do it then. All that for nothing. I'm just confused. Like, you were so ready and determined. And he says, I'm going to do it eventually. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but I have everything lined up. I know what he's waiting for. He's waiting for, he's waiting, like, he doesn't want to die. Like, that's not a natural, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he's waiting on the person that he is in love with to tell him that,
not to do it.
Yeah. And then instead of that, this is what she says. No, you're not, Conrad. Last night was it. You just keep pushing it off, and you say you're going to do it, but you never do. It's always going to be that way if you don't take action. You're just making it harder on yourself by pushing it off. You just have to do it. Do you want to do it now? And he says, is it too late? I don't know. Like, it's already light outside. I'm going to go back to sleep. Love you. I'll message you tomorrow. I mean, she says, no, probably, it's probably the best time now. Like, he literally saying, I want to go to sleep, and I love you. And she doesn't respond, I love you, get some rest, you know, think about this later. She says, no, it's probably the best time now because everyone's asleep. Just go somewhere in your truck, and no one is really out there right now because it's an awkward time. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And you can say you'll do it tomorrow, but you probably won't.
This makes me think that, like, she was probably feeling somewhat like this and wanted, I don't know, like, so gross.
I'll summarize a couple more of these. She's in this exchange. You can read them if you want to. She's explaining to him to get in this truck, go park somewhere, do it early, like now. He said, didn't we talk earlier about this hour being suspicious? She's saying no. We talked about the being late, being suspicious. And he says this, I don't know why I'm so hesitant. This is what just ultimately, like, crushed me. Like, I don't know why I'm so hesitant. I know why you're hesitant. I know exactly why you are hesitant. And if I got a text message like that, I would be exactly where he is right now, telling him that hesitation means that he doesn't want to go, and we need to sort of get him in the direction of help that can bring him back from this.
Right.
But he doesn't get that. He says, you're so hesitant because you keep overthinking it and keep pushing it off. You just need to do it, Conrad. The more you push it off, the more it will eat at you. You're ready and prepared. All you have to do is turn the generator on. No more pushing it off. No more waiting. No, he's not ready. No, he's not prepared because he says, I don't know why I'm so hesitant. That clearly indicates that he's not ready and he's not prepared. And you play in the angle where you're saying the more you wait, the more it'll eat at you. He's still here for him to decide something. He can try new things, try different ways of therapy, but just to be somebody that, you know, he tells that he loves and throw your hands up in the air and just be like, you're not doing it because you're a pussy is basically what it sounds like to me. It's just outrageous.
Yeah.
Then they go back and forth in a couple more on these. I want to get to... Let me get to where... Okay, here we go. He says, I promise I'll do it. She says, like, right now? Now? Where do I go? You can't break a promise. Just go into a quiet parking lot or something. Are you doing it now? I'm determined to. I'm happy to hear that.
Oh.
This person is...
That, like, makes my stomach, that literally put my stomach in my, or that put my, like, chest in my stomach.
Yeah, no one should ever have to hear Especially, like, keep in mind, 5 minutes earlier, he said, I love you. She said nothing to that. Nothing.
Right. I
Skipped
know.
right over it. Okay. It's time. No more thinking. More of that stuff. Okay. This is where he makes the plan. I'm going to the Kmart parking lot. There'll be no cars there at 9, so that's where I'll be found. Okay, perfect.
It's so sick. Like,
So, should I keep it in the back seat or the front? He's talking about the CO2 thing. She says in the front. You could write on a piece of paper and tape it on saying carbon monoxide or something. He doesn't want the first responders to get injured or to breathe in any of these chemicals trying to save him if they don't know what's wrong with him. So he's wanting to you know, put a note on it or something so that they don't inhale that stuff.
even he's thoughtful even in his last moments. Like,
So
ugh.
this is like the So he says, okay, it's Tom. She says, are you going to do it now? And he says that I just don't know how to leave them. His parents and his siblings. And she says, or he says, like, I want them to know that I love them and I didn't mean to hurt them. And she says, they'll probably be sad for a while, but then they'll get over it. They know you didn't
No.
have a choice.
Oh, no, they won't, bitch, because you won't let this fucking case die. Sorry.
Ugh, I hate this. I hate this fucking case. Like, the fact that she is, like, if you guys don't know the story, when you find out what happens to her in trial, it literally makes me sick. I mean, so, he says, I know I'm overthinking it. I'm ready, that sort of thing. So, he says, I'm almost there. She's saying, okay, you can do this. He says, I'm almost there. She says, did you delete the messages, Conrad? Conrad, are you there? You're scaring me. And he gets in and turns on the generator. And has a second thought. I don't know what it was that, sort of hit him. Like he realized the weight of the situation that, he was in or what he was doing, but
Yeah.
he got out of the vehicle. And the first person, unfortunately, that he went to was Michelle. And she told him to get back into the truck.
Yep.
Now, that plays a key factor in this trial. Okay, so she goes to he is found dead the next day. Police are going through Conrad's phone and find the messages between Michelle and Conrad. She is arrested. They're going after manslaughter charges, and she waives her right to a jury trial. So it's just the judge that's going to be deciding her fate. And I'm going to pull up. Let me pull up what the judge says, because there's a lot of pieces at this that are coming into play. Okay. So, That's not the right one. Okay. So, involuntary manslaughter, that's what it was. Involuntary manslaughter. Yep. So this is what the judge says. This court has found that Miss Carter's actions and failures to act where it was her self-created duty to Conrad since she put him in that toxic environment constituted reckless conduct. Bristol County Juvenile Court Judge Lawrence Monet says. The court finds that the conduct caused the death of Mr. Roy. Now, this was the mitigating factor in this was because she told him to get back in the truck. That was why the judge ultimately ruled the way that he did, was because she told him to get back in the truck. Here's the thing, though. When we get to her sentencing, okay, number one, she was 3 months away from her 18th birthday when this occurred. Yep. So it was part of the court's duty to determine if she was going to be sentenced as a juvenile, sentenced as an adult. She was sentenced. They decided to keep her on the. Let me make sure I get that right. Okay, so no, she did get. They sentenced her as an adult. Well, back up. No, they didn't. That's the confusing thing. Okay, so this is kind of murky. So just try to follow along with me. She was ultimately sentenced to 2.5 years in the Bristol County House of Corrections, with 15 months to be served, and the rest suspended, followed by the 5 years of probation. So after a year and 3 months, she can get out. Now, at the end of the judge rendering that sentence, her attorney then filed a motion to stay that execution because the defense is going to go to the appellate courts because given at the time of his death, she was 17. The defense claims that Carter... Hold on. I've lost my place here. Let me see. Katie, you can say something if you want to right now. I've got to find my...
Oh, this case is so aggravating. Makes me sad.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I've got so many notes, I had to pull up the right one. Okay, so she was sentenced to the 2.5 years. She has been allowed to remain. She was allowed to remain free because the attorneys are appealing her conviction to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. And so the judge in this case granted the stay of the execution of the sentence until the appellate court rules on this, because basically what they're going to say is that she should be serving her time, since this offense was committed as a juvenile. She should be serving it in a juvenile correction facility instead of the Department of Corrections for adults. Now, they're appealing this because they say that she should be in the juvenile thing. Now, the reason that the judge stayed the execution of the sentence is because if he demands that she go on into the Department of Corrections, and whatever the decision of the Supreme or the appellate court, whatever, then if the appellate court rules that she should have served her time in the juvenile system, she's already served it in the adult part. So you can't get that time back. We know these things take time in court. So she would have already served her sentence, and then the appellate decision really doesn't mean shit because she's already served it in the adult thing. So I get why the judge had to do what he had to do, but she walked out of that courtroom that day, and now we're going to move to today. why she was in the news again today.
So they're fighting over where she's serving her sentence, basically.
Yep.
And she's like now in her mid-20s. Or what? She's what? No, 20.
She's
Just think, she could have done this. She could have served her time 3 times by now.
she's 22. Here's the thing though. She her defense, and this is what was like just her defense was that the manslaughter conviction, they're appealing it, right? They're appealing her conviction all out right now, and the basis of that appeal is saying that her manslaughter conviction for urging Conrad Roy through text messages to kill himself violates her First Amendment right to speech.
No fucking way.
I don't know. I mean, like, she may have. I mean, as horrible as this is for me to say, she may have a case there. She may have a case there. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this falls under the you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, but if she's making statements, and we have freedom of speech, and those statements led to her being arrested.
No.
Through no actions.
No, so freedom of speech isn't freedom from consequences, and freedom of speech.
No, it is. It is from the government. It is like, yes, this is like it's freedom from consequences from the government, and
but
the
this isn't about speech. It's about her actions that she took and the steps that she took. I can't see how that would ever hold up in court. Period. That's a reach.
I mean, I don't know.
That's a reach.
I don't know. I don't know in this case. What do you guys think in the in the chat? Where, like, this is. I mean,
my chat's just annoyed that she hasn't done the time yet.
If she can't, I don't know. I don't like this case at all. I don't like it at all.
I don't either.
But
so they're going to the Supreme Court. Now, what are they doing in the Supreme Court?
Well, they're trying to see. I want to say that the Supreme Court denied her motion for a stay, but it says in a petition on Monday, Carter's lawyers argued that her conviction to tell Conrad to kill himself was unprecedented and it violated her right to free speech. Mark said that charging Carter based on her words alone violated the First Amendment, and the decision upholding her conviction created a conflict among state Supreme Court. So I guess that they did uphold her conviction. Her conviction also violated due process. According to the petition, Massachusetts is the only state to have upheld the conviction of a physically absent defendant who encouraged another person to commit suicide with words alone. So this is going to be a precedent, which is very rare. You know, this is going to be a case of precedents. Carter, who is 22, began serving her 15-month jail sentence in February, nearly 2 years after her conviction. Judge Lawrence Moniz had allowed her to remain free until her state appeals were exhausted. In February, Massachusetts' highest court, the Supreme Judicial Court, refused to overturn her conviction, ruling that the trial and evidence against her proved that her wanton and reckless conduct caused Roy's death. The Supreme Court will now decide whether to review that court's decision.
And has the Supreme Court decided anything yet?
No, not yet. But you know what? That's I don't know. Like, I'm a free speech. Go ahead.
She's in prison right now.
Yes, she is. She began serving in February. She's 22 now, but she'll be out she'll be out by next March. So
I don't think this is to me, I don't think it violates free speech because this is followed by action. And I think it's followed by repetitive action. And I feel it's coercive. I mean, you can
It is coercive, yeah.
You can be put in jail for simply like conspiracy to commit murder because you tell someone you want someone to kill you want someone to be dead. So it's really no different than that. Like, you can go to jail for that. So it's, to me, that's not about free speech. She's coercing him. She's manipulating him. She's,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
see, here's the thing though with that, like, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I can't decide where I come down on it. But with the crowded theater, like, your speech is endangering every, a mass hysteria of everyone on a thing that doesn't exist. Like, hers was, like, if you play devil's advocate in this, and I hate doing this, but I'm just trying to be to be fair here and consistent. At the beginning, she was totally against this. Now, I don't know. I'm just climbing in her head for a second if it were me. Maybe she got to the point where he talked about it so incessantly that she was like, okay, this is what he wants to do. I'm going to encourage him because ultimately he'll be happier. He's miserable in life now. I need to be strong for him because he's not strong. Like,
that was her initial argument.
yeah. I mean,
That was her argument. But they had so many exchanges between them where she's egging him on.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, what if she really did love him, and she knew that he wasn't going to be happy, and he needed somebody to push him to do this because this is what he ultimately wanted. He had tried before, and like, what if she loved him that much? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Well, then she's playing God. Then that's assisted suicide, for crying out loud, which is basically what she did.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm for assisted suicide.
But he's not capable of making that decision because he's extremely unwell.
I know, that's why this whole thing, it fucks my head. Like,
I am completely
okay
with I am totally okay with assisted suicide in cases of like terminal illness. To me, like, if you are terminally ill and you want your life to be over and you have made that choice, yes. But in the cases like this, he's young, he's suffering from depression. There's plenty of things that could have been done to help him, and he didn't even want to do it.
Well,
and then he got out of the truck, and then he said, "Get back in."
I know. Like, look. No one can misconstrue where I fall on this. Like, everyone knows. Like, I think she's just pure evil. I'm just playing. Like, I'm trying to play the other side here. She was. She has a history of mental illness. She was on medication. She battled it too. Like, this was I don't know. I've been hit with veganism, free speech, the suicide thing. Like, this is just, it's people, man. Like, here's the thing. Sometimes the things that we do to each other, for what? You know, like, why in the world can't we... Another thing that I like about this judge, though, I will say, he did order that she is never to profit from this. She can't make a dime off of book deals, off of movie deals, off of telling her story. She's not to ever profit off of this.
Well, that's actually a law. You can't.
No, in some states, yes, but not overall. Yeah, not overall.
Okay. I lied.
He just, like, he saw the way that she acted after his death, like she was the victim in missing him or whatever, and so he wasn't going to give her the opportunity to.
She's a freaking psychopath, and she would do this again.
Here's
my thought. You said she had multiple eating disorders, right?
Yeah.
Right? Anorexia and
bulimia.
Mm-hmm. Depending on how invested and how involved she was in this eating disorder, in some of these online groups, some of these girls can get fixated on death, like to the point that they want to die, and it's like becomes romanticized. And then she's already mentally not well because you know she's got depression, she's got the eating disorder, and then like another aspect of eating disorders like anorexia is control. And so she's wanting to control something outside of herself. It's
Yep.
just very like sadistic. It's like
Yeah, it is. But
it's
what fucks her ultimately on that though is the fact that when the police got access to her phone, she texted a friend of hers and said, "Oh shit, they've got access to Conrad's phone. If they see these messages, I'm going to be in so much trouble."
yeah, she knew what she did was
She
wrong
was aware
immediately.
of. She was aware
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
her involvement. Like, how could you
Yeah.
at least not go to the parents and like say, "Look, I love your son, and I don't want him to do anything to harm himself." Like, because
Right.
the parents, they didn't know the extent of this. Like,
How sad he was, right? To his level of depression, right?
and that could have been the,
He was how old when he passed away? 18?
yes.
I mean,
No,
when you're
no,
18,
no,
you're
no, no,
pretty.
no, 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 no. He was 20, 21.
I mean, that's a tough age because you're a young adult. You're still, your frontal lobe is still not fully developed. But that age, kids don't always disclose what's going on with what they're doing in their lives. You hide a lot from your parents. And had he had people in his life that would have told him, no, you shouldn't do this, there's things that can help you. But he didn't. He didn't have access to that. Instead, he had someone that said, no, go jump. You know?
Yeah. There's a part of me that like just wants to keep giving her that. Well, maybe she just convinced herself that this is what he wanted and just committed, because I just don't want to think that somebody can be that, that whole thing where he's like, I don't know how to leave them. And she says,
He was 18. They said he was 18.
when they met in 2011, he was 18. What year?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was 17 in 2011. He was 18. That's when they met in 2011. I think this happened in 2013, I believe, 15.
No, because she got sentenced when she was 17.
No, the crime happened when she was 17. That's what the fight was about. She had turned
Oh.
18. She had turned 18 when the sentence came around. But when this actually happened,
Oh.
she was
Got it.
she was 17.
Got it.
But yeah, that's that story. So now here's what I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. I want you to.
He said he was, no, Callan said that he was 18 when he died.
Yeah, he was.
I don't think their relationship was very long.
Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Let me double check here. Because CNN reported that they met in 2011 when she was 17 and he was 18. Okay, he was. Yeah, he was 18.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, CNN, you done fucked up.
Yeah, screw you, CNN. Just kidding. Fake news. Just kidding.
So in the chat, okay, both chats, press 1 if you think that this is a case of involuntary or voluntary manslaughter, or press 2 if you think this is just a suicide and it just has really shitty circumstances that are involved, but that ultimately it all rests with Conrad. let's see where once they start coming, there's a delay, which it's always like,
I know.
okay, starting to come in.
I'm getting a lot of ones.
Yeah. Yep. 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 That's why Smartest Chat's on YouTube. Good deal. Good deal. Yeah.
Asta said something very true. Like, she was troubled, but so deeply at fault.
Yeah. I'm sure, God, I mean, this has got to eat at her, and she has to live with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that in itself is not a good thing, because I don't know. This is a tragic. I just had to blow off the steam because I saw in the news today that she was going to vacate her thing because of the First Amendment, and it just like, why can't you just do your year and a half for taking someone's
Right.
life or being a part of someone taking their life, and shut the
Right.
fuck up about it and go on about society. Why the fuck are you dragging it out? And you know what it is?
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. I am convinced that she is wanting to vacate the judge's sentence. She's already going to be served. Her year and a half is going to be served by the time the Supreme Court hears this. She's going to be out. She's doing this so that she can get that clause about her not making any profit off of this story vacated.
I'm sure.
100%. 100%. You can't get time back from prison. Like when she gets out and she goes before the Supreme Court, they can't say, "Oh well, here's all these days back that you've," like, what are you vacating it for? It's done. So, let's go to super chats real quick, and then
I don't have any, so you can go.
Katie can take us through her banana bread recipe that she wanted to do last time. And then we'll be good.
Right. Banana bread. That sounds good. Now I want banana bread.
I'm craving it right now.
You are such a bitch.
I know.
Why do you always do this to me?
RJ says, this melody inside of me still searches for a solution. Well, number one, just ask Melody to slide out of you for a couple minutes, and I'm sure that there is contact solution somewhere. That was a sex joke and a I hope joke, if you didn't get that. Yuhan Roderick says, your volume is low compared to Katie. He then follows that up with, turn up your volume, Kyle. And then says she needs multiple drop kicks to the head. He says no plug tonight, but make sure that you go to let me make sure I get this right. Make sure you go to verygoodpodcast.com/AaronRaw and check out that podcast. It is an awesome podcast. So he then says, love you guys, don't mess around, depression, be there for each other. I couldn't agree more with that. I think that
Hell yeah.
life is just better if you ultimately try to take care of.
Here's the kicker, you guys. Like, if you have a friend telling you to do these things, the absolute last thing you should ever be doing is encouraging them to do it. Instead, you should be providing them resources, telling them to call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline or call 911.
Or just don't say anything. Like, her silence would have been better in this case than anything she said. Like,
Right.
there's so many. What if? That's the worst part about life is, that's my number one. Somebody asked me on a podcast interview one time, like, what's your biggest fear? And
Yeah.
mine is regret. 100%. To be able to, I think it's the most depressing thought to ever look back on anything and torture yourself with if you would have done something different, how much different your life would be. You know, that's just, to me, that's, you're just torturing yourself. So I fear regret more than anything. Mean says, did you make any vegan dishes in your chef profession? As a vegan, I hope I will have the honor to try a dish because I am not a good cook. I did not. There was one time where I had I did a wedding, and there were 3 people that were going to be there that were vegan, and we did I remember getting tofu, and it was like we made the tofu look like ahi tuna. You know, when you take ahi tuna and you just sear it on the outsides and you slice it, it's got that bright red. We kind of dyed
butter in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we made we sliced the tofu and put the rice and stuff on it to where it looked like the ahi tuna as well. It was just.
I'm sorry, but like, there's 0 things that you can do to tofu that actually make it taste.
Oh,
like,
agreed. The
like,
only flavor came from the soy sauce.
Years. I was vegetarian for years, and I missed meat so badly.
The only flavor came from the soy sauce, like vinaigrette that was on it. Because literally, I tried the tofu. To me, tofu tastes just like if you know those packaging foam pieces that you get and thing. It just like if you ate one of those.
It literally tastes like nothing.
Just take one of those next time you go somewhere, or you're in a shipping place. Have you a little bottle of soy sauce with you, and sprinkle it on there, and tofu. Boom. Boom.
Boom.
All right. So, thank you guys for, I like tofu and miso soup. Yeah, but still, it's just, that would just be a texture thing, you know? You would just be putting it in there for sort of a...
God, now you guys are making me hungry. Why do you always do this to me?
All right, gang, let us all bow our heads, say grace, and then go and
Ha! So you know what we did when we were growing up? My grandma was always like, we need to say grace. And then we'd all be like, grace! And then we'd be done. That was really loud.
That's actually funny. That's just really funny. Every year my grandma will call on somebody to say the blessing, and for the most part everybody keeps it very short, but there's always one uncle that just he will not stop. Like, it's just like everybody here is hungry, shut up, but every time he's called on, it's like, oh, we got to go through the entire year of blessings.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you guys for being here. We'll be back tomorrow at 9. Thursday is I'm really excited about Thursday because Dr. Bowen and Megan will be with us to.
Are you back on your normal schedule now?
Yes.
Yay!
I took a week off last week, and I feel 100% now, and got a full week, and yeah.
You
I'm
hear
good
my
to go.
cat purring?
Yeah. Well, I just had that had that biopsy from those.
Yeah. How'd that go?
They were concerned that it was precancerous. They think that they got it, though I have to go twice a month for the next 3 months to keep a count on my my blood cells.
Was it like a basal cell or whatever?
What's that?
Was it like basal cell or whatever, like precancer?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I had strep throat. Like, you remember this? I was telling you about this.
Yeah, and you couldn't get over it.
Yeah, I couldn't. It was just like, it was killing me. Well, I went to the doctor, and you know how they put I can never say this word, the stethoscope. Put the stethoscope on your back, and they lift your shirt up and they put it on your back. This doctor, it was on the weekend, so I went to like an urgent care just because I was so miserable, and so I didn't know this doctor, and it was very small talk, and he's listening to my breathing, and he goes, "I don't like the way that mole looks on your back." Now, I'm not thinking that he's saying this as a medical. This could be a medical issue. I'm thinking he's just looking at a mole on my back, and he just thinks it looks weird. So
Yeah.
I quit back. Well, you'll have to talk to the person that put it there. You know what I mean? Like just very. And he was like, no, 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 no. I mean, there are some concerning signs here. And I was like, with a what? I'm all, and it just didn't click. I just thought he was just like,
Yeah, they have odd edges. Ouch.
you know, he's just like, I don't like the way this mole looks. And it's like, well, you know, I can't see back there, you know, unless I'm,
Oh my God, this cat is killing me. I'm sorry.
you know. But yeah, we're gonna go now. I'm rambling. This is what happens when you don't stream for a week. You know, you go a
Oh
week.
my God, seriously, he just slobbered all over my nose.
I just
Okay,
have
hold
to.
on, you guys.
We're gonna end this.
Orange Kitty Love. Bye.
Be good to each other, everyone. See
Yes.
you tomorrow.